Embracing Aging with Grace, 5 Buddhist Insights that will transform your life. Welcome to Buddhist Motivation, where we explore profound insights from Buddhist teachings to help guide you through life's challenges with mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Today, we're diving into a deeply transformative topic, aging. As we get older, it's easy to feel as though time has betrayed us, or that we are losing something precious. But what if aging was not something to fear? What if it was something to embrace? In this video, we'll explore 5 Buddhist insights that will help you embrace aging with grace and see it as an opportunity for growth, wisdom, and inner peace. These insights are not just theoretical. They are practical lessons that can truly change the way we experience aging. Before we dive in, if you find value in this content, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support motivates me to continue creating more valuable content for you. 1. You will be forgotten sooner than you think. One of the hardest truths to accept is that, in time, your efforts, your career, and your life's work will fade from memory. Buddhist philosophy explains this through the idea of anatta, non-self, and impermanence. Nothing remains forever, and we are just temporary waves in the ocean of existence. The true goal is not to be remembered but to be present and to contribute kindness and wisdom to the world around us. I will tell you a story to illustrate this more clearly. The Forgotten River of Life. In a remote Buddhist temple, nestled on the edge of a lush valley, there lived an elderly monk known for his serene wisdom. One day, a young monk, eager to understand life's fleeting nature, approached him with a heavy heart. "Master," the young monk began, "I fear that my life's work, all that I've dedicated myself to, will eventually be forgotten. What is the point of striving if no one will remember us?" The elderly monk smiled softly and motioned for the young monk to follow him outside. They walked together to a nearby river that meandered peacefully through the temple grounds, its waters flowing without interruption. "Do you see this river?" the elderly monk asked. "It has been flowing for centuries, yet no one remembers its beginnings. Its path changes with each season, and its waters never stay in one place." The young monk watched the river thoughtfully, feeling the weight of the words. "But the river is still here," he said, "and it nourishes the land and the people. It leaves its mark." "Yes," the elderly monk nodded, "but just as the river flows and moves on, so do we. Our lives are like the river, ever changing, never the same, but always contributing to the greater flow of life. The river does not need to be remembered to fulfill its purpose. Its beauty lies in its existence, in the way it sustains everything around it. Just like the river, we flow through life, leaving ripples. But those ripples are what matter." The young monk understood. He realized that the true goal was not to be remembered by others, but to live with intention, spreading kindness and wisdom as we journey through life. The elderly monk's teachings were clear. Life is not about creating a lasting name or legacy. It is about being present in each moment, contributing to the flow of life, and embracing the impermanence that defines our existence. "To your body will betray you, so make peace with it. The body will age, slow down, and eventually wear out, which can feel like a betrayal." However, the teachings of Buddha remind us that aging is natural and that it is the attachment to youth and resistance to change that causes suffering. Instead of fighting the inevitable, we should cherish our body for the service it has given us throughout our lives. I will tell you the story of the cracked water jug to illustrate this more clearly. In the heart of a quiet Buddhist monastery, an elderly monk lived a life of contemplation and peace. He had served the monastery for many years, his hands once steady as he worked in the gardens, cared for the temple, and meditated with focus. But now, his joints ached, and his steps were slow. His hands trembled as he held the sacred scriptures, and his back, once straight as an arrow, was now bent with age. The monk often felt frustrated, as if his body had betrayed him after years of devoted service. One day, the monk went to see his master, an older monk who had lived through many seasons of life. "Master," he said, "my body no longer serves me as it once did. I feel as though I am failing in my duties, as if my own body has turned against me." The master, who had seen many monks come and go, smiled gently and led the elder monk to a well near the temple. There, on the edge of the well, was an old, cracked water jar that had once been used to collect water for the temple's daily needs. Despite the cracks, the jar still had some purpose. It continued to hold water, though not as much as it once could. The master pointed to the jar and said, "This jar has served the temple well, just as you have served this monastery. Though it is cracked, it still holds water. Just like your body, it may not be perfect, but it still holds great value." The elder monk looked at the jar thoughtfully and understood. "I see now," he said quietly, "that my body, though weakened, has still carried me through this life. It has allowed me to serve others, to learn, and to grow in wisdom. I should not curse it for its limitations, but instead, I should honor it for all it has done." The master nodded. "It is not the perfection of the body that matters. It is its purpose. Your body, like the jar, may age and break, but it will always have a role to play in your journey. Accept it, and you will find peace." 3. You cannot keep everyone in your life, and that's natural. As we age, we notice that people around us, friends, family, drift away. This is a natural process, and Buddhism teaches us to accept the impermanence of relationships. A Buddhist parable illustrates this beautifully. The parting of the leaves. In a peaceful village nestled at the foot of a great mountain, an elderly woman spent her days tending to the small garden beside her home. Over the years, she had welcomed many people into her life, friends, neighbors, and even travelers passing through. Some stayed for only a short while others became close companions. But as the years passed, she noticed that many of these people slowly drifted away. Her old friends were no longer visiting, and even her family, who once spent so much time with her, began to come around less frequently. One autumn afternoon, a young traveler, who had once stayed in her home, came by for a visit. He could see the sadness in her eyes and asked, "Why does it seem like people come and go from your life so easily, as if you're being left behind?" The elderly woman smiled and led the traveler to a nearby tree, whose leaves were beginning to fall with the arrival of autumn. "Do you see the leaves?" she asked, pointing to the gently falling foliage. "Yes, I see them," the traveler replied. "Every year, the leaves of this tree fall to the ground. Some stay on the branches longer, others fall sooner, but they all eventually leave. Yet, without the falling leaves, there would be no new growth in the spring. The tree does not mourn the leaves that fall, but it knows that their departure is part of the cycle of life." The young traveler looked at the tree with new understanding. "So, you're saying that people, like the leaves, come and go in their own time. The elderly woman nodded. Yes, exactly. Relationships, like the seasons, are impermanent. Some people stay for a long time, others for a short while. But all serve a purpose in our lives. The time we share with them helps us grow, just as the leaves help the tree grow. The pain we feel when they leave is natural, but we must learn to let go with grace, knowing that life continues to flow, and new people will come into our lives when the time is right. The traveler nodded thoughtfully, appreciating the wisdom of the elderly woman. He understood now that the ebb and flow of relationships was not something to fear, but something to embrace. Just as the leaves fall in autumn to make way for new life, so do people leave our lives to make room for new experiences and connections. For you are not young anymore, and that is a gift. Aging is often seen as something to be feared or fought against, but Buddhist philosophy teaches us that aging brings wisdom, patience, and an appreciation for the present moment. The beauty of aging is not in fighting to look young but in embracing the wisdom that comes with each passing year. A Zen story about an elderly woman who laments her aging body illustrates how true beauty lies not in physical appearance but in wisdom and grace accumulated over time. Story: The Golden Threads of Wisdom. In a small village nestled in the mountains, there lived an elderly woman named May. Known for her grace and wisdom, she had spent her entire life helping others, offering guidance and comfort to those who sought her counsel. Despite her years, her spirit remained vibrant, and her heart was warm. However, as time passed, May began to notice the signs of aging creeping upon her: wrinkles on her face, silver strands in her hair, and a slow stiffness in her joints. She couldn't help but feel sorrowful as she looked into the mirror, longing for the youthfulness she had once possessed. One day, while sitting in the garden, May was joined by a young woman who had often come to her for advice. May sighed and looked at her hands, which were now marked by age. "I feel like I am losing something precious," she said softly. "My body is no longer what it used to be. It is changing, and I cannot stop it. I fear I am becoming less beautiful, less valuable." The young woman looked at May with compassion and asked, "But you have so much wisdom, so much grace. Isn't that something beautiful?" May smiled weakly. "Ah, but youth is beautiful too, is it not? When I was young, I had strength, beauty, and the world at my feet. Now, I feel like I am fading away." The young woman thought for a moment before offering a suggestion. "Would you like to visit the elder tree in the forest with me? I have heard that it teaches us much about time and change." Intrigued, May agreed, and the two women walked together to the forest. When they reached the ancient tree, the young woman gestured to its gnarled bark and twisted branches. "Look at this tree," she said. "It is ancient, yet it is full of life. Its bark is cracked, its branches twisted, but it holds a beauty that is deeper than its appearance. Each year, its leaves fall, but it still stands tall, offering shade and shelter to those who seek it. The tree has lived through many seasons, and its wisdom is in its strength to endure, to grow with each passing year." May gazed at the tree with newfound understanding. "I see now," she said quietly. "Just like the tree, I have grown and changed over time. My body may not be as youthful as it once was, but the experiences I've lived through, the lessons I've learned, and the love I've given, all of that is what truly defines me. True beauty is not in the appearance of youth but in the wisdom that comes with time. The young woman smiled, and May finally understood that aging was not something to fear, but something to embrace. The wisdom and grace that came with her years were a gift, and she would cherish them as she moved forward in her life, just as the elder trees stood proudly in the forest, offering shelter and strength to all who came near. 5. You will see more loved ones die, but love never dies. As we age, we experience loss more frequently: parents, siblings, friends, and even children. Buddhism teaches that while grief is painful, it is also a reminder of the love we have shared. The love we give and receive continues to exist, even after someone has passed away. Story: The Bamboo and the Wind. In a small village by the sea, there was a wise elder who had lived many years and seen much in his life. He had witnessed the passing of loved ones, family, friends, and companions, and felt the weight of loss that came with aging. One day, a young woman came to him, overwhelmed by the recent death of her beloved father. Her grief was consuming her, and she could not understand how life could go on after such a loss. The elder invited her to sit by the shore, where the wind blew gently through the bamboo trees. "You are suffering," he said, "but suffering is not something to avoid. It is something to understand. Let me show you something." He pointed to a grove of bamboos swaying in the wind. "Do you see how the bamboo bends?" he asked. "The wind comes, strong and relentless, and the bamboo sways with it. It does not fight the wind. It bends, and it moves with it. And when the wind passes, the bamboo straightens again. It does not break, but it adapts." The young woman watched the bamboo with growing understanding. "But how can I bend like the bamboo? How can I accept the loss of my father without breaking inside?" The elder smiled gently and continued, "The bamboo teaches us that life, like the wind, is full of change. And loss, though painful, is a part of that change. The love you shared with your father will never leave you. It is like the wind, always present, even when you cannot see it. It will continue to shape you, to guide you, as you move through life. Just as the bamboo bends with the wind but remains rooted in the earth, you too can bend with the winds of grief, but your love for your father will remain as the root of your being." The young woman sat quietly, reflecting on the elder's words. She realized that her father's love was not something that could be lost. It was like the wind, present even when unseen, guiding her and shaping her heart. Through the wisdom of acceptance, she could honor his memory by allowing the love they shared to flow through her and guide her in the years to come. Conclusion: I hope these 5 Buddhist insights have shed some light on the powerful and beautiful journey of aging. Remember, aging is not something to fear but a privilege that brings wisdom, love, and growth. As you embrace these teachings, may you find peace and grace in every stage of life. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support means the world to me. Stay tuned for more enlightening content from Buddhist Motivation, where we continue to explore Buddhist teachings that guide us toward a life of mindfulness, peace, and purpose. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.